streaming. Connecting. Okay, good. We're streaming. Let's go. Let's go. Hey, let me. Okay. So.
Yeah, this is a great time to start, but I already have to go do something real quick.
Okay, it's fine. Things happen, and lift and all. Refresh. Reload. That's nice. Oh, yeah, I guess for this time I'll also answer some questions from the chat.
Back.
So, oh, okay. Anyway,
let's talk about a little bit of kind of like the capitalism, like exploitation and stuff like that first.
Sure, I guess.
Okay, so what's your point?
My point? Well, I think oppression by the bourgeoisie does happen because they take their surplus value without working or doing manual labor, which is the majority of their jobs.
Okay, so the problem that I see with your statement is mostly oppression by the bourgeoisie.
What?
Oppression by the bourgeoisie.
Bourgeoisie. I just misheard it.
I just pronounce it as bourgeoisie because that's the way it looks to me.
Okay.
But either way, I don't see how workers are even like exploited or oppressed by the bourgeoisie in any way, because of the fact that they chose to work at their business and stuff. And the thing with the surplus value is it's based on labor, and obviously in economies and in every economy, you cannot base you cannot base you can't base commodity value on labor, because commodity value is determined by the utility of it, the marginal utility, meaning, the benefit gained from a certain product.
Okay. Wait, can you repeat a bit of that, the last part of the statement? Also, it's like to point out before you do that, the voluntary argument doesn't necessarily make sense, since you have to be forced to work to survive.
Well, I mean, the thing about that, sentiment is, work or starve is in absolutely every system, because of survival reasons. You're basically arguing that, survival is exploitative, or survival
is like...
Yes, of course you are, because you have to do something to survive, or else you're gonna die. That's survival.
Yeah, you do, but you shouldn't be forced to work under capitalist businesses that pay you badly.
But okay, there's a couple things wrong with your sentence there. First of all, no one forces you. You do it off your own will. Plus, if you're going to bring up the
survival, though, in a capitalist society, you have to work for a survival. You have to work and be a wage slave.
There's no such thing as a wage slave. Wage slavery is just cognitive dissonance to be able to blame your failures on someone else.
What?
Yes, it is.
Historical evidence or proof of that. There's historical evidence of being wage slaves, though.
But there's not.
What? There is, though.
It's not a historical context, though. It's a theory
historical
context.
Fact, there's been wage slaves. It isn't a theory.
Well, no, there hasn't.
Yes? Are you calling... What do you mean? What's your definition of a wage slave?
A wage slave, at least by how it's been presented to me, is someone who basically is forced to work in a job through the quote-unquote oppressive system of capitalism, because they're going to starve, or, stuff like that. I just have a question for you. Have you ever heard of self-employment?
Yes.
So how is that not a choice? How is that not a third choice?
What? Self-employment? Let's go. Wait, sorry. I just want to say hi to Becca.
Oh.
There we go. Anyway, wait, can you repeat? Sorry, I just lost my train of thought. Repeat what you just said about self-employment.
Okay, so self-employment is a choice. You don't have to work for the bourgeoisie or starve. It is literally a choice.
Self-employment? You don't...
Yes, it is.
Self-employment is somewhat of a choice.
No, it literally is a choice in capitalism.
Yeah, it is. I agree. If you self-employ yourself as, let's say, Uber driver, then yeah, it is.
Yeah, but you're
still getting exploited by a larger company. There's no.
Well, no, you're not. Who's exploiting your little freaking lawn mowing business? Tell me that.
What, your lawn mowing business?
Yeah.
What do you, give me more context. Like, does your lawn mowing business not own? Have employees? Like, it's vague.
They could have employees. That's still not exploitation.
How is it not exploitation if you're what's called seizing their surplus value and taking their money, even though if you don't do the work, since you're the owner of the business, the owners don't do the work.
It's not exploitation because, one, surplus value is wrong because it assumes value is based on labor, and two, it's a voluntary transaction. Plus, exploitation. Yes, it is absolutely a voluntary transaction.
It is not if you're forced by it's not. Ooh, you saying your name? Is this the Krusty Krab? This is Patrick.
Sorry, my brother was pestering me. Anyway.
Yeah, conservative kiddo.
Bro, his name is Ancapist. No.
Okay.
Anyway, the exploitation thing, it's wrong because, all association is voluntary, and yes, work or starve, even if there's not self-employment, is literally a freaking choice. And And what was I trying to say? Yeah, exploitation is also wrong because it assumes that value is based on labor, but no.
In capitalism, it isn't voluntary because we're forced to do it by survival of the society.
But I just explained how that is literally a choice, even if self-employment is not a choice, which it certainly is.
You just said self-employment is a choice.
Yes,
it is. The entire
is.
population can't be self-employed.
It can.
Is there any historical examples, or are you just going to say something hypothetically, randomly?
Well, there's not really been many historical examples of that.
So would it be more reliable than like a system that actually has been tried before, like communism and socialism?
Communism and socialism? Yeah, I love mass starvation. It's fun.
What?
Yeah.
There's no historical evidence backing that either.
Yes, there are.
Give me an example of mass starvation and communism.
Cuba, China.
Cuba? What?
Yeah. Many people starve in Cuba.
You do know? Oh my god. Wait, do you mind if I get now revisionist on here for a small bit?
No, because this is a 1v1 debate.
1v1? Okay. This is gonna be fun. But I it's drawing a blank.
Either way, we got off topic.
Okay. I just want to point out the fact that you say there's mass starvation under communism. Like,
well, under socialism at least. You're gonna pull a not real communism on me.
What? When has anyone pulled a not real communism on what's it called? On you? I mean, you pulled a not. What?
Some other Marxists like
What?
I don't think he's a Marxist, but Era.
I missed one.
Era Vajnik.
Just what?
He did say true communism's never existed when I first debated him.
Well, that's true according to Marxist theory, yes.
Well, according to Marxist theory, that's bullcrap because socialism has existed.
It's for communism. Wait, BRB. I need to do something real quick. Keep the chat entertained.
Okay.
Marianne, you can unmute yourself.
Marianne, you can unmute yourself. Marianne, you can unmute yourself. Never mind. I'm gonna go check out the live chat. It's gonna be fun. Everyone's muted except for me. This is sad. Yeah, you can unmute yourself.
All right, cool.
Hi.
Hello.
So, yeah, this debate is fabulous right now.
Yeah, off to an interesting start.
Don't watch. I'm trying to go onto the live stream so I can check out the chat. Someone already thumbed it down. I'm gonna like it.
Me too.
So I'm also gonna go check out Squirrley's.
4 likes, 5 likes. Oh, Rika's in the chat.
Reeps?
Yeah. Rika, the hopeful voluntarist.
Oh, you said Rika, not Reeps. Okay.
Yeah, Rika. She's awesome. She's one of my friends. And her channel is awesome. You should check it out.
Probably will after this. I need to go to Kommissar. Kommissar Squirrley.
Yeah, we got Atomic Ancap, who you've already seen in Questions for Socialists, the collab that we were both in. And Squirrley is an Ancom.
By the way, if like anyone like outside of, Commissar Squirrley joins, just like eject them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But you're silencing just said, no, I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, your audio is pretty. How do I say this? It's pretty bad.
Hmm?
Your audio's
Oh.
not very appealing right now.
Oh. My mic's kind of crappy right now.
What's Squirrely coming back? Jesus Christ. Oh yeah, you wanted me to be like chat mod. Can you do that?
Yeah, you already are
I
chat.
sound like Gumball Watterson. Okay, favorite. Okay, whatever. Oh, I already am. Okay.
Yeah, or you can mod you ahead of time.
Oh, I didn't know.
Well, now you do.
Atomic Ancap, you sound like Gumball Watterson. Okay. Squirrely, come back! Set this up for weeks and they just goes out. It just goes out just like that. I can't.
Ha ha ha.
Sorry about that. Just,
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, sorry. For everyone in the chat as well.
Okay, let's go.
Okay.
Let's go again. What
I'd
were we
just like
talking
to point
about?
out, you said Cuba was starving and all. Starving. You do know when it became communist, it was under embargo by most of the Western world, besides the Soviet Union Eastern Bloc, which couldn't even provide aid during the Cuban Missile Crisis when America basically blockaded Cuba.
Yeah, but then again, when America did stop blockading them, they still were suffering the
Since it was
like economic.
embargoed, and it's a smaller nation.
Either way, if true socialism worked, why can't they barely like afford toilet paper over there in today's world?
What? Toilet paper? Where? You mean Venezuela?
No, I'm talking about Cuba. They can barely afford toilet paper over there.
Wait, can I bring in? Nah, he's Cuban and he knows about this. Can I just have him in for this
no,
one
this is
bit?
a 1v1.
I know, but I could I am not good at explaining the Cuban part. I know he's better on this topic than me.
Then I may debate him someday. But either way, this is a 1v1. Let's get back to theory.
Okay. I just want to point out, bro, they're not blockading them. They have a massive they had a massive embargo around them for most of history. Okay, but anyway.
So like, you have anything else about theory, like exploitation?
Theory.
Like that?
Well, exploitation does happen because there's slaves in society, and they barely get paid for their labor.
Okay, so
people in sweatshops, for example, and people under the minimum wage, and even minimum wage, where you can't really survive that well.
Holy crap. You're using a wolf leftist argument that people are exploited because they're paid under the freaking state minimum wage. Jesus Christ.
Like, not that it isn't. I didn't say it was exploitation. I said it was bad because people are getting paid under.
But you know why that is?
Lower wages.
That isn't the fault of capitalism, though.
And why is it?
It's the fault of government regulation, which sends production costs through the roof. That's what regulation does.
Regulation?
Yes, that's what government regulation does.
Government makes sure monopolies don't take over.
No, they do not.
Monopolist government.
No, yes, they do not. No, they don't. What evidence do you have of that?
Historical examples. When regulations were implemented, they wanted to stop noble lords from seizing a ton of land and serfdom and feudalism.
Well, okay, so so how is that like anything in capitalism? It's feudalism. Feudalism and capitalism are different.
No, I'm talking about regulations. They're introduced at the end of feudalism and capitalism.
Even so, the regulations these days have caused it to where there are more monopolies forming because governments don't care whether or not there's a monopoly.
There is no real monopolies. I guess you could count like Amazon and Apple and like large companies like that as monopolies, but they don't really own like tons of businesses and control most of the market. It's
a true monopoly is literally just like a certain business or something like that controls that certain service in a market. They're the only ones producing it.
Sorry, I just gotta. What? Yeah. Okay.
So, I really want to like go into the argument of whether or not anarcho-capitalism needs a state.
I don't think it needs a state necessarily, but I do think capitalism does survive for long periods of time, of course. Since I count the Congo Free State as an anarcho-capitalist society.
Well, it's not. It had price controls. They didn't follow the NAP. They didn't do any of those things that anarcho. Yeah.
Non-aggression principle was somewhat maintained in Congo, but I do admit it wasn't fully implemented. Those most anarcho-capitalist society there was in history.
Well, no, it really wasn't.
Yes,
because it still had it. Because it still
there's no
had a state, and it had price controls.
What?
Yeah, it had price controls.
It didn't have press since there was no really newspapers in there.
What do you mean?
As in, it was during the 1800s, and most of it was forest, and majority population was Congolese. And the Congolese people couldn't really make newspapers because they're working, and they didn't really know how to write. You know?
They still had, a higher entity that controlled what prices they were. Yes, they did. They had a state.
What? They didn't have a state?
Yeah, they did.
What state was it?
It was God, I forget every time I read it.
Belgium?
Let me go get it.
What?
It's going to take me too long.
Oh my god. The state?
It still had price controls. I'm just going to leave it at that.
Can you give me a source, please? Like, I want to see this.
Oh, good God. I have to go dig that up from all the mountains of tweets I've made.
Oh. Like my cool Star Wars thing? Pretty hecka good.
Either way, that still has nothing to do with whether capitalism needs a state or not.
What? I was talking about anarcho-capitalism. You said anarcho-capitalism.
Does capitalism need a state or not?
I think it does. Yes, to maintain itself for long amounts of time.
Well, no,
but
because
I think without a state, it could be more efficient doing capitalist things, as in exploiting the worker more without a state, and basically having more wage slaves and serfs.
But I just debunked how workers are exploited. You're gonna keep.
You didn't debunk them. You just
said I did.
Voluntary because it isn't forced because you joined the job.
Yeah, you joined the job voluntarily. Exploitation is not voluntary.
What is it voluntarily? You have to be forced in a capitalist society to join, to have a job.
Well, no, not really, because there's still self-employment.
There is self-employment, but not the entire population is self-employed. And even then, there's no real actual examples of entirely self-employed. Like Uber claims to be, well, it's somewhat self-employed. And it isn't mostly because it's still ran by a massive business.
But I mean, like, do you
Corporation, I
even
mean.
know what the like meaning of self-employment is?
Yes, it's in the name. Wait.
Yeah, basically. So, like, if I went out and started doing people's gardens, you know, like making their gardens, growing the plants and stuff, then I would be self-employed because I made my own business. And exploitation, I also explained
Wouldn't
another
your
reason
business
as to why it's
have
wrong.
employees to be like counted as like a real business? Like I guess you could have like a lemonade stand, but like yeah.
Well, I mean, like, it may have employees, but that still doesn't mean there's exploitation.
Yes, it does. Since you're taking their surplus value and
you are not taking the. Oh my God. Here's the thing about surplus value. It's based on labor, which makes it incorrect.
What? Labor
Yes.
based on the surplus value is incorrect because?
Yeah, because
That's based on
it's
labor.
It's incorrect because commodities a commodity's value is based on the equilibrium created by the supply and demand. That's why. It's not. It's also created. It's also measured
Guys.
by the marginal utility of a
Oh my
product.
This is fun. Can you stop using the same arguments, please? I was trying to
But
say.
but you keep using the same arguments. You keep going, but my surplus value.
Oh, but I'm just saying surplus value is taken from the workers. You just keep.
But it's not.
Yes, it is.
I just told you as to why it's wrong. And I have to explain that because you're so intellectually dishonest that you will keep.
Stop using Rick and Morty words, please. It makes me.
It's not a Rick and Morty word. It's a freaking debate.
Yes, it is.
Word.
It's a high IQ.
No,
word.
it's not.
Anyway, can we continue on to the what's it called? What else were you gonna do?
I think communism is an oxymoron.
How? It's been tried in history.
Because it requires a state, and no, it hasn't been tried in history.
Yes, it has. If you ignore history, then I guess sure. If you ignore Catalonia.
Catalonia literally had CNT and FAI unions that looked and acted exactly like a state, and I do have a source for that.
The CNT and FAI? The FAI was an anarchist movement.
But they still acted like a state.
They didn't have labor unions. And the CNT was a labor union, but it was only used for organizational uses, and it didn't have a hierarchy, and it was owned by the people. And it wasn't
even if it was owned by the people, it still acted like a state because it enforced arbitration and stuff.
What? It didn't enforce arbitration?
Yes, it did.
Can you give me a source real quick?
Okay.
I just want to see if you have one.
Okay, let me go get my video real quick.
Video?
Yeah, I put that in the description.
Oh, okay. Also, do you know the definition of anarcho-communism, right?
Communism without a state. Communism without hierarchy.
Oh my God! You do know communism gets rid of hierarchies.
Well, yeah. But are you implying that capitalism is a hierarchy?
Let me explain. As an anarcho-communist, it basically just means you get rid of the state immediately during the revolution. You go straight to full communism.
Okay, so either way, that's still an oxymoron because you need a state to preserve communism.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do.
Have you ever heard of Marxism?
What stops someone from building private property?
Building private property, the people do, since you're taking the people's land. Do you not understand a people's government?
Okay, so why would the people have a vested interest in stopping that?
The people have interest because it's taking their land. I just said this.
He's taking their land. How? By voluntarily exchanging to get some.
Voluntarily exchanging. He's taking the land from the people.
But it's not taking the land because it's acquired legitimately.
How is it legitimately? You just said vaguely, if this guy sets a private property, then it's voluntary.
Well, if I could explain, it's acquired legitimately because it requires you to have a transaction between another individual, and when that transaction with another individual or individuals is met, then it is a voluntary transaction.
There wouldn't be transactions in an anarcho-communist society. What?
Who's going to stop that?
The people,
without creating a hierarchy?
Because it's under anarcho-communist society. Do you not understand that private property? And,
Why would the people have a vested interest in stopping people from voluntarily exchanging?
sorry, I muted myself. Wait.
Jesus Christ. That's who's talking down here. You can have the bandages if you want. Oh wait, do you want my like stuff? You want my stuff? Oh, by the way, there's ammo here. We are definitely in the circle. I don't know if we should head into prison or not. Let's head over to like these other houses. There's a blue M16 in here if you want. So, how about we entertain the chat for a second?
All right. Is my audio better?
No, not really.
Ugh. Still.
His argument really implies that, that people will just flock to stop a voluntary transaction and stuff. That people aren't inherently self-interested beings. Ignoring human nature is it's a fatal flaw in an argument.
Sorry about those interruptions. Okay.
Okay, so
I'd like to continue.
I probably gotta do something else soon, but anyway.
Okay.
Your argument that people will just flock to stop voluntary transactions and stuff really doesn't make any sense, because it ignores how human nature works. People are self-interested beings. They're not just going to be all in one, unity and be like, wait, they're making private property. We should go and take them out. By the way, where would you put them? Where you put them? Jails? Would you kill them? What would you do?
What do you mean? The people that made the private property are trying to put private property back? You're being vague.
What would you do with the people who are trying to put back private property? Would you just execute them right on the spot?
No, you won't execute them. You just give the property back to the public. I mean, to the people.
What stops them from doing it again?
What stops them from doing it again, since they'll know it's the people?
Well, no, You're still ignoring
try to
you're
establish-
still ignoring the basic fact
Will you
that
try to
people are
establish
self-interested individuals and they're not just gonna flock to be all. We should stop this guy from creating private property. How many people these days do you know who actively
But this
oppose
is
private property?
anarcho-communist society, according to you. You're just making up hypothetical situations to make your argument look better instead of actual historical examples.
Your historical examples are cherry-picked.
What? They're not cherry-picked.
Yes, they are.
They're just using anarchist societies. How is it cherry-picked from using?
But they weren't anarchist.
What? They were. I
How?
just explained this.
Catalonia's CNT and FAI unions looked and operated exactly like a state by using force.
Like a state. They didn't. They only used it for organization. It was a CNT. The FAI was an organization of the anarchists. Get your history right, mate. The CNT was syndicalist trade union.
Let me get you my source.
The FAI was the anarchist and anarcho-communist and such.
Let me get this.
Oh, it's a cool
source.
communist. Let me just delete. Simoko. Stop advertising that. Oh, Jesus Christ, nah.
Where was it?
Oi, capitalist kid.
There it is.
Do you know there's 2 Ancaps on here? Huh?
It's 2 Ancaps?
Yeah!
Yeah, problem.
Why can't there be one Marxist-Leninist here?
Why can't there be one Marxist-Leninist?
Yeah.
Because we're literally just 1v1ing.
Okay.
If this was a 2v2 debate, then Marianne would be unmuted. But no, you had to cry about that.
Well, I just said we have centrist mods that be unbiased, since centrists don't like either of us. Well, like, see what I mean? On ideological grounds.
Whatever.
Let me just, buzzing.
Did you send the link to anyone?
What? Nah.
Okay, I hope so.
Only near the end I might invite Nah, since he has, like, Tourette's because of this.
Well, no, because this is just going to be like a 1v1 thing. Anyway.
Well, at the end, when we finish this.
Well, when we finish this, I got to go do something else.
Oh. Well, near the end of this debate, then. So I'm pretty sure we're going to get through these arguments, and then, like, I'll just have Nah on for a small bit, and then I'll just go on his Discord server, and yeah.
Okay, either way, we did talk about libertarian socialism because we talked about Catalonia and stuff.
Gym.com. That's a bit weird. Terror in Catalonia. Wait. Are you guys deciding? Are you guys... Oh, God. They're citing... Oh. That ain't good. Oh. That's what it is. To Catalonia main page. Really happening. I'll look into this later. This is pretty funny. Seems to be democracy. Oh my god. It's fine. I guess they cite Francoist books. Whatever. Let's just continue.
I can't think of another topic.
Wait. I have another one.
What?
Like what about what's the saying? Good examples of communism and capitalism, like as in good things that they have done.
Good things that I'm gonna say capitalistic systems.
Capitalistic.
Capitalistic.
Corporatist.
No, not corporatist. Just they turned into mixed economies.
corporatists turn into mixed economies?
I didn't say that. I said capitalist economies turn into mixed economies.
Oh, okay, I see. I didn't know America had a command economy, but yeah.
Dude,
But
what? Do you know the difference between a mixed and a command?
yes, and mixed can include command somewhat. It's mixed.
Yes, it can, but that doesn't mean it's a full.
Why are you a dirty,
command
filthy
economy.
Anglo?
Either way, I'll agree to have a now revision. Come on, if Esoteric can come on.
Oh my God, esoteric. Sure, yeah, esoteric's really cool. I'm gonna let revisionism on. Heck yeah.
Yeah, because we're running out of things to talk about.
Yeah, esoteric. He knows how to talk a lot. He's a great guy. Say. There we go. Get that link. Hopefully this ought to work.
Why can I not find him? There he is.
Egbert sends a center, right? I'm not letting him on. He ain't in those centers. Ignore the screams.
Okay.
There we go.
When it hits 1 hour, we'll go off.
Okay. That is fun.
No, actually, I gotta be prepared for at least 10 minutes for what I need to do. Colton, I'm dead.
Uh-oh, Cole. Ooh, yes.
Colton.
Okay. What's this anarchy ball? The real black boy. Oh God. I can't do that.
So can I talk?
Yes,
Well,
not.
I mean, in a minute.
Heck yeah.
If Esoteric.
Yeah, I just want to make one quick point.
Okay.
Save me.
All right, tell me when you're ready.
It's probably gonna be a while.
Okay, just tell him the point right now. Since SO is not taking it.
All right. So you said that there isn't exploitation in capitalism because all work is voluntary, and then you also said, and then when Commissar Squirrley countered with, "If you don't work, you starve," you then responded with, "If you don't work, you starve in all systems." Now, this is, I think this is true. This is what the fuck, Commissar? What was that?
Sorry, I just saw this meme.
Okay, yeah, this is true, but that's not the argument that's being made. Until post-scarcity is reached, work will be a necessary component of society. All facets of humanity come from labor. I think the main point you're missing out on here is that you also made something, you said value is determined through marginal utility and not through labor. But that even if that's true, like let's assume that it is true, it doesn't take away from the extraction of surplus value in work.
But I mean, like the surplus value argument is it's a very misguided I
No,
believe
not really.
because it assumes that value is based on labor, and I have pointed out that
No, it
value is
actually
not
doesn't.
based
No,
on
it
labor.
doesn't. No, it doesn't.
But it does
if
because
you,
it's reaping they're reaping the full value of
no,
their
no, 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 no.
produce.
Because if a worker produces a product, right, and then they exchange that as a commodity, then
What was
a certain percentage of that money will go to the capitalist instead of the worker, and then the worker gets a cut of it in a wage. You can't deny that surplus of value exists, even if labor isn't the determiner of value. And here's the thing. If you're saying that work is voluntary because you have multiple choices or something like that, or you don't have to work because nobody's putting a gun to your head, I could make that exact argument for taxes, right? Because nobody's putting a gun to your head to taxes.
But they are.
You only get taxed. No, they
If
aren't.
if you don't pay, you get
There's
threatened by
multiple
the state.
options. Hold on.
That's forced by a humanly thing. You are
No, it isn't.
yes, it is.
No, it isn't. Because the government
Forced,
only
or else
taxes.
you get thrown in a cage. That doesn't happen
really.
in capitalism.
Hi guys.
You realize
Okay, here's
that
the
is
thing.
a much
Here's the thing. In
that is a
America,
way different that's a way different example than what you're talking
in America,
about.
in America, you do not get taxed if you fall below the poverty line. You also do not get taxed if you do not own a house or any property. So, logic goes, if you don't want to get taxed, then just be poor.
Well, yeah, but either
It's voluntary, isn't it? Because nobody's forcing you to be to not be poor. You could just, if you don't want to get taxed, just live below the poverty line.
well, yeah,
Because
but,
the government,
but then again, do you not
if
see?
you live below a certain poverty line, you get welfare benefits and you don't get taxed at all.
You know what? That's a good point. I'm actually gonna think about that for a second.
Okay, yeah, because
as an epitome.
because you're going by that logic, right? Then taxes wouldn't be voluntary. But of course, taxes aren't voluntary, right? Because you have to pay them. You could say these hypothetical scenarios. Well, I like, for example, what I just did. I could say, oh, taxes is voluntary because if you live below a certain poverty line, then that equals voluntarism. But obviously it doesn't, because the vast majority of society has to pay taxes and they has to participate within the realm of taxation. And that is the exact same thing for work. And basically the argument is that it is exploitation, since the workers are the ones that produce all of the products within society, and the capitalists get to maintain a monopolization over the products which is that produced, and they get a surplus and an extraction for them. So that is exploitation.
Yeah, I want to
that's
make a video on that soon, but like,
if you guys want to move on, then I'll just leave. That's the only thing I wanted to say.
okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's a good point.
Yeah, that's a pretty good point. I'll probably make a video about that.
You should probably
All right, thank you.
on that. No,
Okay.
Jesus Christ. Ugh. God bless non-revisionism. Heck, sorry, I'm not allowed to sully Lord's name. Yeah.
My freaking house makes an
The
alarm.
men's nice. What's it called?
Alarm system.
Yes. Anyway, let's continue on to one last thing I just like to bring up.
Okay.
I just like to explain like an example of anarcho-communism. I think you could somewhat agree on the Makhnovshina.
Haven't heard of that.
Man,
I haven't heard absolutely everything in the world. Jesus Christ.
what?
I know that's horrifying, right?
Like examples of like your rival ideology, like but it's fine. Like it's a bit obscure, I do admit. But the Makhnovshina was basically this Ukrainian anarchist territory. It was a free territory, basically. It was called the Free Territory of Ukraine. It was in southern Ukraine. It was started by this guy, Nestor Makhano, and he's anarcho-communist. It was an anarcho-communist free territory in the southern Ukraine that eventually was killed by the Bolsheviks after they killed the White Russians. It was during the Russian Civil War.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. But the question I have about them is, did they have any type of tyranny, whether you want to call it or not, like tyranny of the majority? Did they have labor unions that enforced
the tyranny of the majority? Isn't that kind of oxymoron? Because, well, not oxymoron, but kind of doesn't make that much sense.
Yes, it does. You can be you can be forced to do stuff by the majority.
I mean in class. I mean like in class. That's what I meant. No, I know like the majority, yeah, definitely exists with like ethnicity and such. Since if you look at Rwanda and Burundi, then yeah.
And another question I have is, how long did it prosper? Like, how long did their people?
You should lower the GUI on your mic so it doesn't pick up background noise. That's a tip from the chat.
That's because I was really far away from my mic. Anyway.
Oh, okay.
How long did it prosper? Like, how long did the people enjoy good quality of life there?
They enjoyed it for about. Let me actually get the exact thing. 3, 10.
Not how long it existed. How long did it prosper? Those are two different things.
Well, it basically prospered for its entire existence.
Well, I mean, like, was there at any point where, the economy went down or such?
No, there is a bit of lack of, records on the free territory, but it prospered for most of its time, though it was unprosperous when, like, the White Army and such attacked.
Huh. Yeah,
during war, of course.
Research more into that.
But you would agree that would be an example of anarcho-communism. Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, I may have to. I'm probably gonna go check it.
Okay.
But yeah, I think we pretty much covered everything that we wanted to cover.
Yeah. Anyway, see ya.
Yeah, see ya.
I'm gonna record some audio for a video.
Okay. Okay, so I'm just gonna say bye to everyone. If you guys enjoyed this, leave a like, comment. See you guys later. Bye.
Stop. This is my channel.
Oh.
No, it's mine.
Anyway. Yeah.
Well, thanks for stopping by. Hope you all took interest and enjoyed this debate. Yep, so coming soon, tomorrow at 8 p.m. is when my new live stream series starts.